Hello, this is Mike Lively, and today I'm going to show you how to make a football in Cinema4D. And in the process, I'll be pointing out a number of shortcut keys that you'll use to make your workflow faster. Now, if you followed my series on 3ds Max or on Blender, then you're aware that you can actually speed your workflow up quite a bit by using these shortcut keys, and I highly advise that you learn them, and I'll point them out as we go. We're going to build a football just from primitives, and we're going to shape it, and then in another video we're going to show you how to put a UV map on it. So let's start with a primitive. And you're going to think I'm going to bring out a sphere, right? No, I'm going to bring out a plane. And why I'm going to do that? Because I've got to have some reference material to actually build this football. Now up here are your keys for actually doing some rotation in the plane. That's translation, that's basic backward and forward, and that's rotation. Okay, and let's use those. And I can actually hit this rotation, just click on it, and then you rotate around. And I want to put a material on this plane so I have a reference, a football to draw. So the first thing I want to do is go to the web and just type in football in Google. And go to an images search and just grab a nice image, and we're going to bring that image right onto this plane so we can model with this plane. Now the football is very spherical, so I actually only need one plane to actually model, but if I had a more complex object, I might use 2 or 3 planes and have different perspectives and model according to that. And I actually have done some 3DS tutorials on that. Check those out, but this is a very simple example here. So the first thing I want to do is I've got that image, I've downloaded it from the web, I put it into my folder. I think I threw it in the program file, and now I want to go to my content manager, so my window. In my window there is a content browser, and in that content browser there's lots of wonderful presets. Here's the sky presets. I was actually working with different skies. You can get different textures for body paint or for other applications. And what I actually did, I just went to my computer and I actually went to where this particular material was. It's on my C drive, and I think I throw it in program files just to make it easy, and go down to program files. There's my football. So I'm going to come down here and I actually want to create a material and put that football material on it. And here's my materials tab down here. So let's go ahead and just create new and put new material. And there's my material right there. I'm going to drag my football right onto that material. So just from the content browser to drag it right over on your new material and drop it. And yes, I want it there. And there's my football. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just drop my football right onto my plane. Boom, and there we go. And there's a football, and I can actually now use that football to actually model my particular example. So let's roll it around and get into right position so we can actually start working with it. There we go. That's a nice position right there. And there's my football. Let's zoom in on a little bit. There we go. It is a little bit big, so I can actually shrink it. So how do you shrink things in Cinema4D? Well, it's very easy. This is the translation tool right here. This is the basically scaling tool, and here's a rotation tool. Now you don't want to actually click on those. You're going to be wasting your time. E, R, and T. Just remember E, R, and T. E is translation, R is rotation, and T is shrinking. So I got T selected. Let's go ahead and shrink it. There you go. Make it smaller. There we go. Now we can start modeling our ball. So at this point, I'm just going to do a simple parametric model. So I'm going to come along here, and in my polygon tool here, I can actually bring down different primitives. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here to this little polygon, and this is my primitives tab, and just hit sphere. And there's a sphere right there, and I'm going to model this football according to the sphere. I don't like that rotation, so I'm going to reorient it. Let's go ahead and hit my, R key for rotation. That's rotated around. So remember, E for translation, R for rotation, T for shrinking and scaling. So let's go to R for rotation. Let's just rotate 90 degrees. There we go. Now you can actually see the number that you're rotating 90 degrees. Now if you're not quite happy with that, you know you're not quite on, come down here to the actually coordinates, and you can actually change that just by typing in the number right here. I'll just type in 90. So that puts me right on the actual 90 degrees, and that's where I want to be. So now let's kind of rotate our image up and see what we got here. And that does not look much like a football, so we actually need to start modeling. But the one thing I want to pay close attention to is I'm modeling for the web, so things need to be small in polygon number. So I actually need to reduce this. Now it's not going to look good necessarily, but it's going to actually react well in the 3D environment I'm creating. So let's bring that up a little bit so we can see that. Make it a little closer, and let's change some polygon numbers. So with selected, I can actually change the number of segments that I have in my sphere. So I can see, I'm going to start counting. I see 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 segments. Let's reduce that to 5. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to my segments area and just reduce the segments. So let's just bring that down. And as you do that, you can see the segments are changing. I got down to 15. Let's check out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's bring it down one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the number of segments I want. And now I want to do a little bit of shrinking, so I hit the what tool. The T tool will do the shrinking for me. In the middle here, I'm just going to shrink it a little bit, just get down to size, and then I'll need to stretch it out a little bit. You see that? So I shrunk it some, trying to get it to size on the football. So let's move this around so that exactly matches the image on the football. So hit your E for translation. Let's translate it down just a little bit. There we go. And if you want to hit the 4 view, you can actually, there's 4 different views you can use in Cinema4D, and you can get those by the F1, F2, F3, F4, and F5 key. F1, F2 gives you the top view, F3 gives you the right view, F4 gives you the front view, F5 gives you 4 different panels, and F1 brings you back to perspective view. For this particular example, we actually can model everything in perspective view, but as your models get more complex, you want to use the 4 different. So now that I've done my parametric modeling, I actually want to start doing polygon modeling. And the way you do polygon modeling is to click on this right here, or to hit the C key. So once again, we're using our shortcut, so hit the C key and we're in polygon mode. So make sure this is activated, hit the C key to go to polygon mode. And when you do, you see you suddenly got a little checkers right here, and that means you're in polygon right there. And I can grab this now, this stretching tool, and just stretch it out in that position. And actually my football is looking really pretty good. And I want to stretch these ends right here, so I can actually do a little rotation to get that end. Look at that. Go and look at that. Good. And now I can come along here and actually select points in my polygon edges, or I can select polygon faces. Let's shoot points. I'm going to click on that point right there. And now all I'm going to do is just kind of use a translation. So let's hit our E key for translation. Just translate that point out. There you go. Hey, not too bad. And let's rotate around to the other side. And let's click on that. Now if you have problems getting certain points, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. What you want to do is you got a little lasso tool up here. So you can come up here and get your lasso tool, and you can just draw a circle around that area right there, and boom, there's your point, and just pull that out. And guess what? You just about have a football. Let's rotate it back into position. There we go. Now let's just rotate around it and take a look at it. Yeah, it kind of looks like a football. At least it fits the picture, and that's what's important. Now right now you're going to go, this doesn't look very pleasant to me. It looks like it needs to be shrunk a little bit, but actually it fits my image very well. So what could I do to actually make this smooth and make it look more beautiful? Well, one thing I could actually do is use what's called a NURB. So I can come along here and I can click on NURBs, and notice right here I've got a little NURB here. But it didn't do anything to my image, because what I need to do is I need to drag my sphere into the NURBs. I need to grab my sphere into the NURB, creating kind of a child-parent relationship. So let me just go over here into sphere and just drag it and drop in the NURB. Let me drag it and drop it into the NURBs, and when I do that, you can see now you kind of have a child-parent relationship. And boy, that looks a lot more like a football, right? Yeah, but we got a problem. Here's a problem. That's a lot of polygons. So how do I look at how many polygons that I have? I'm going to remove this from NURBs. Just hit Control Z. I'm back to where I was. Go up here to Structure, and Structure actually shows you the number of polygons. Right now, I'm at 61 polygons. That's going to really work well as an image inside of PaperVision or Away 3D. But what I don't want is what I'm about to do, and that's when I go into the NURB mode. So drag this under here, creating that parent-child relationship. You got your NURBs. And now let's see how many polygons we have. So hit Structure. And guess what? It says the same number. But wait a second. I know that's not true. Because if I look at my image right here, I notice I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've added 16 additional polygons per polygon. So I have to multiply 61 times 16. That's the number of polygons I've extended. I don't want that many polygons for an Away 3D or a PV3 game. So what's the problem? Why don't I see that? Because you don't see the NURB calculation in this structure polygon. So as you're building, make sure you look at structure polygon, but remember as you add NURBs, you really add a lot more polygons. If you're looking for something that really has to look nice, you want to sacrifice the CPU processing, that's great. But for now, I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to get rid of that, so I'll go back to my object and just drag it out from there. And I'm back to my particular application. So I don't need the plane anymore, so I can actually select that and just hit the delete key. So that's gone. And let's just select it again. And that's my football. And next time, I'm going to show you how to create a UV map for this object. Well, so thanks for listening. This was Mike Lively, and I'll see you next time.